first few steps here on the trail. How many miles we doing on this hike, Matt?
It's like 72.
72 miles. Best section, possibly one of the best sections of the Florida Trail. We aren't going to be climbing any mountains. Actually, this might be this might be our biggest climb right here, right out of the gate. So we're doing 20 miles today, and it's supposed to rain. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, it won't start raining until later on tonight. Well, we got a nice little downhill, and so far we've probably been going for maybe a mile, and it's looked like this the entire time. We're probably gonna see some hunters on this hike for sure, because it's right smack in the middle of hunting season, and this looks like a great place to go hunting. But Matt was saying that here shortly we're gonna get to a wetter area, so the vegetation is gonna change. So I'll definitely be back when we get to that. Coming up on some real pretty trees. A little bit of mixture. We're starting to see a little bit of change in the vegetation, leaving the purely pine forest to a little bit more of a tropical look. This is what a lot of hiking in Florida looks like, and I quite enjoy it.
So, you know, it's what I like to do.
Well, we're about 12 miles or so into our hike today, and haven't filmed too much yet because it's kind of looked the same. We've had some areas that were kind of logged, so not really much to film through there, but the trail does do a good job of staying right on the edge of those sections. But now here you can see we are in a little bit thicker area. We've seen a lot of bear poop. This area, Ocala National Forest, has a huge bear population, so black bears are everywhere. But as you can see, you can't really see very far. The visibility is minimal with the thick brush and bushes and trees, so you might be right next to one and not even know it's there. So we again are doing about 70 miles, and we've got a pretty good crew with us. We got Matt from Zpacks, we got Hardcore Steph with us from Zpacks, we got Stick from Stick Blog, and we've got Benny, aka Plug It In Hikes, who's going to be hiking the Bit Mackay Trail with me. That's him up there in front of me. He just set the speed record for hiking the entire map of the Smoky Mountains. I think he did it in right around 40 days or so. It's like 900 miles, so he crushed it. He already held the record, so he just broke his own record, but he thru-hiked it this time. So first time he would get off trail some and go back home, but still did it real fast, and this time he did it straight through. Again, it's a beautiful day today. It is going to be in the 20s on this hike. Believe it or not, in the 20s in Florida, and closer to Central Florida. Ocala is a little bit further south, just south of Gainesville. So I am going to bring you guys all the best spots of the Ocala National Forest section of the Florida Trail. Arguably the best section of the Florida Trail. So we will see. And just because it's flat doesn't mean it's easy. It works those same muscles on your foot, on your legs over and over again. There's no variety, so you can feel it. You can definitely feel it. Well, we've been hiking for quite a few miles, and this is our first water source so far. You can see it's pretty nice. We have to walk out here to it. Not much water on the Florida Trail. So when you see the water, you get the water, that's for sure. Because as you can tell, the majority of the time it's kind of a little bit more dry. But we are camping at a water source tonight. There's going to be an actual spigot because we're camping right by an RV park. It's 2:55, and I think we're right about at 16 miles. Today we started about 8:30, so moving pretty quick. Of course, no mountains, it's pretty easy. You can pretty much average 3 miles an hour with not much difficulty. So we'll be to camp pretty early. We've been stopping a lot too, just because there's really no reason to rush through it and just get to camp at 2 when we've got a pretty scheduled out hike. So tomorrow will be 15. Headed to camp, and as you can see, we're right here next to this lake. It feels really good to set your tent up after a long 20-mile day on your first day out on the trail, but it's going to be really cold tonight. It's supposed to get down into the 30s and even colder the next couple nights, so we'll see how it is. And it's also supposed to rain, but we're going to enjoy this place tonight before we start hiking again tomorrow. Well, it's the start of day 2, and as you can see out there, it's a lot colder. It's colder today, right, Steph? Yeah, your dog's already ready to hike. Look at that.
She's cold too.
We had a good camp spot here last night. So Chad, what did you think your first day hiking in Florida?
It's different.
Yeah.
A lot of sand.
Yeah.
Just completely different. It's flat, but it's still a little rough.
What about all those mountains?
Yeah. There were several there.
It was a little hilly though, I will
Yeah.
say. It was like more hills than I thought there was
Yeah.
gonna be, you know?
It wasn't quite as flat as I expected.
Yeah, yeah.
Still, it was enjoyable.
What'd you think, Benny?
Sweet.
Sweet? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely different.
Temperature's better today though, right?
Much better today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't handle none of that heat.
Yeah,
That's why I winter back then.
there you go. There you go. Well, we only got 15 miles to do today, so we're gonna get started here shortly. We camped right over there last night. It's a beautiful spot right here. And it looks like the trail's gonna kind of follow right along, and this is a pretty big lake here, so we're gonna be starting off hiking around it. You guys ready to go? Bella?
Bella, you ready?
Okay, we're off. Well, it's already looking prettier out on the trail today. That's for sure. Walking kind of by this lake. We're about to come back up on it over here. Yeah, where we are right now in Ocala, we are pretty much in the middle of nowhere at the moment. Definitely no service, cell phone service out here. It's definitely pretty secluded. It's getting colder as the day goes on today, for sure. Man, it's just, this is absolutely a beautiful, beautiful section. Man, look at this right here. Not many places where you're gonna cross under trees that look like this. Wow, this is pretty cool right here. Okay, so I'm saying it. This area of the Ocala section hike on the Florida Trail is, I have to say, probably my favorite area I've been to so far on the Florida Trail. I mean, you really can't hike anywhere that looks like this anywhere else in the US, that's for sure. It's taken me a long time to walk through this area because I keep wanting to stop and take photos. You can see the trees kind of have a slight bend everywhere you see from, and that's from the hurricane. Man, there were so many this past year. I can't even remember the name of it, but we live just a little north of here, and it came through pretty strong. So I'm glad to see that there wasn't maybe as many blowdowns as you would think, but you can tell the trees have a bend from the hurricane in some areas. So on this hike, I've made a pretty substantial change. One of the biggest changes you can make, I have always hiked in Cascadias, Brooks Cascadias. This is my first hike with Ultras. These are the Ultra Lone Peak 3.5s. And I really didn't want to move away from the Brooks, but the price was just a little too expensive and I wanted to spend a little bit less. I'm liking them okay. They're really tight around the upper part of your foot, so that part is sore on both of my feet. The shoelaces are a little short. I could switch those out. Besides that though, I really don't have any other complaints. It's just that they're tight on my feet. And I did get a half size bigger than I typically wear. I should have gotten a full size bigger. Well, the scenery has changed pretty drastically now. Before we were walking through those kind of prairies, grassy ponds and lakes everywhere, and it was beautiful. Now we're in a thicker forest, evergreen trees. It's actually turned into a kind of rolling hills. We've actually had some ups and downs. Obviously not mountains, but good little hills. So that's been nice, but we are approaching the main road that cuts through Ocala National Forest, about right in the center. we are getting close to that road. I can hear cars off in the distance, so we're making good time, and it's pretty through here. Day 2 is much better than day 1 in my opinion. Well, now it looks like we're in the middle of a jungle. The palmetto brush is everywhere. We're getting some bigger palm trees, and then these oaks. So it definitely looks a lot different now than what it did this morning. And it does look like there's a little field or something. Oh, there's a little footbridge. Let's see how these ultras do on this. It's pretty. Nice marsh. Okay, made it across. No slipping. Granted, they did have some grip on the wood, so it wasn't like I was walking on slick wood. Yeah, here we are. Comes out of nowhere. A lot of traffic. Timed it perfect. Okay. Pretty. Well, we just started hiking out of Juniper Springs, and we've got probably about 5 more miles left today. And again, this has been a great day. We're only doing 15 miles. We're about to be to Juniper Prairie, and then we're going to be camping at a campsite that's in that area. It's going to be cold for Florida, 31 degrees tonight. That's what we've been told. And of course, the rest of the country right now is, the deep south is even getting snow. We heard Atlanta got like 4.5 inches. Talk about hiking in a cave. This section just north of Juniper Springs is really neat. Literally, it's like walking through a tunnel. Again, it's real thick everywhere. Well, I'll tell you what, this little section, as we're getting closer to the prairie, it's reminding me a lot of the southern section of the PCT. Check this out. Pretty much been walking on sand now for a little bit. And yeah, this really reminds me a little bit of PCT, where I was always looking for rattlesnakes. Man, those things get right on the trail. One scariest moment for me on the PCT, I walked up to one, and it was in a bush right here off the side. And it didn't rattle until I was right next to it, and it was big, but luckily for me, I didn't step on it, and it was actually trying to get away. So that was great, because I was right there next to it, inches away. We saw quite a few rattlesnakes. So this kind of looks like the same type of thing, but I have yet to see a snake on this hike. I think it's been a little cold, probably in holes right now. Yeah, this is just a huge scrub. You can't walk anywhere around through here except right on the trail. No need for blazes through here. And honestly, they kind of overblaze this section in my opinion. Oftentimes I'd be standing in a blaze and I could see the next 5 in front of me. I think you're supposed to see 1. I don't know. Well, this is the first time we've kind of popped out to the prairie. Little open grassland here. It's kind of swampy. You can make out the water. So we came from back in that pine forest over there, really thick, and now we can actually see pretty far, see some trees way off in the distance. The wind is really starting to pick up. You can see the cloud coverage. Just really looks like winter. I love it down here. You don't get this kind of day very often in Florida. You do get it more in North Florida though. Probably got about an hour left to camp, and it's only 2 o'clock, so we're getting done early today, but 15 miles is all we were doing, which is good. So I think you can officially say we've gotten to the prairie and to the lakes. It's beautiful. This is our first bigger one. We've been passing some small ones. So I'm guessing we have about 30 minutes left today, and then we will have done 15. We've been moving pretty good. We did take some long breaks, but when we're moving, we're going a little over 3 miles an hour. I found this homeless man out here. Man, I felt like we were hiking in the desert that whole time.
You know,
Oh look, there we are.
I'm loving
There's
this
camp.
hike a lot more than I have ever
Yeah.
loved any other Florida hike, and I've done this one before.
Yeah, yeah. This
I'm
is my
seeing
favorite
it
one.
Totally differently.
Yeah, this is nice.
I really didn't enjoy it before, maybe because I had blisters the size of frickin' baseballs on my feet. But this is spring fed. Look how clear that is.
Golly. We should be camping soon. There's some people camping right there. Yeah, this is nice. Here's where we're camping for night 2. We're gonna watch the sunset over here. It's pretty bright right now. We got everybody set up here. Pretty cool camp spot, huh?
No doubt.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Have squares, like 4-inch squares.
DCF City.
And you gotta like.
Yeah,
So all the vertical
definitely is.
lines. That's what I was really looking for. Take me to the ones that I want to learn. I think sometimes we get that
Well, it's the start of day 3, and it's really cold right now. The cold front really came in last night. Unfortunately, me and Steve and a couple guys and Tristan, we ended up hiking this already last night because we didn't see the turn off and didn't know everybody had turned off and gone to the camp spot there. So it looks like this for a while. Definitely feel like you're in the desert. But it's about like 30, probably 34 degrees out right now. So as soon as the sun gets a little bit higher up, it'll warm up real fast with that sun. So shouldn't take much longer. Yeah, a lot of the trees around here actually has ice on it here still in the shade, but that'll definitely be gone in probably 30 minutes when that sun gets just a little bit higher up. Day 2 has been great so far. The brush all around us and the sand underneath our feet definitely felt very much like a desert. And I'm sure this area feels very much like a desert in the summertime. But great way to start your hike off. And the trail is just amazing right now. It really is. And I'm glad to be doing this section right now and not later on in the day. Because we have clear skies. It'll definitely feel pretty warm today, I would imagine, underneath the sun. Even though I think the highs were supposed to be around 55 to 58. So we've got 21 miles to do today. We tried to get started a little earlier this morning, get all these miles in. But we are finishing at a place where you can order pizza. So some people are trying to get there really fast. Well, here's where we started in Paisley, Florida. We're doing map 19 of the Florida Trail. And we are right here, so a little bit over halfway for sure. And we're gonna be staying somewhere over here tonight and finishing up at Rodham Dam. Well, we've moved into a pretty thick forest now. We've got pine trees, mostly, maybe some oak trees as well. The Florida Trail for sure through Ocala can change. We crossed a Forest Service road back there, and all of a sudden it looked completely different. So this is pretty cool, actually. And there is actually some type of campground back here that we should be coming up on here shortly, and that's where we're going to be getting our water. We've been able to get water. This will be our second spigot water source, so we've been hiking like 15 miles or so. They're about 15 miles or so apart, so not bad. But you can see it's really nice through here. You got a little bit of visibility, but not much. Just saw a huge pile of bear poop back there as well. So there are definitely bears in this area. So maybe we'll see one. I doubt it because there are a few people ahead of me. But you never know. A lot of wildlife out here for sure. Got to a place where we're going to stop for a little bit, and it's beautiful just sitting right here on this meadow Wow, I think this is a campground here. Not too bad of a car campground. Look at these trees. Wow, it's beautiful. Man, we're gonna grab some water here. How long have you've been here for a while?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a while.
because we stopped. We stopped and ate. Man, this is gorgeous here. Wow, we've got meadows on both sides, so it's just this little string of giant oak trees. Amazing. Is there? Oh my gosh, this is incredible. Wow. Once again, the Ocala section of the Florida Trail is spectacular for sure. We passed a campground that was more of a car campground, but there wasn't very many people there, and it was just oak trees sitting right on this beautiful prairie. So this is a really cool place too. We've seen so much variety on this hike. But I will say, my left knee's been bothering me. I am testing out these new Ultra Lone Peaks. And I do find that I have more problems with my knees when I'm hiking the Florida Trail because it's flat the whole time. So for me, I hardly ever have issues when I'm on the mountains with my knees, but out here, it really hurts a lot more just going on the flat surface. So it's easier on the breath, but harder for me, at least in my legs. So I'm moving a little bit slower. Well, I'm stopped right here for a little break. Right underneath this oak tree, we're actually been walking around the perimeter of this huge prairie. So it's been a wonderful hike the last probably hour and a half or so, 2 hours. Hardcore stuff should be coming up here soon, so I'm gonna eat for a little bit. So today, pretty much carried just quick stuff from the grocery store for this hike. Some tuna fish, crackers, a classic right here. Yeah. And of course, some potatoes. So, breakfast bars for breakfast. And of course my staple, goldfish. But I think right now I'm gonna cook. So, let's see here, how many ramen noodles do I have? I just have this one left. So, man, I feel like I'm gonna have to do that. I got a lot of potatoes, but it gets my pot pretty messy. I don't wanna have to clean that right now. Actually, I think I'm gonna do mashed potatoes. So here we go. Mashed potatoes it is. I'm gonna be cooking that up, then probably have some tuna as well. It's gonna be a good little break right here. And of course I've got my my go-to pot here lately, my Snow Peak Titanium Solo. And I only brought with me on this trip the main pot and the top. I could have left the top at home, but I typically keep my stove in here, which it isn't at the moment. It's kind of dark last night, so I probably just threw it in the back of my backpack. There it is. Oh, canister. One of the reasons I carry this zip backpack is for the ability to open it up and grab stuff that I forget. It's packed way down in the middle of my pack, and you know, you never want to have to pull everything out again. It's such a hassle. So with the zip pocket, I can just unzip it real quick and grab something. I love that for sure. So, got my Soto OD1 regulator stove right here. Okay, we got it going. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be munching down on some buttery herb Idahoan potatoes. Well, we've left the prairie behind, and we are back in a pine forest. It's nice through here. We've been hiking for a while, so I would think we probably have 8 to 10 miles still left today, and it's about 1:30. So made it to the end. We did 21 miles. We had to come to the 88 store, which is right up there. I think they've got they sell convenience store type stuff and beer. We're happy to be here, right, Steph?
Heck yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Long day.
Yeah, we're tired. So we'll check this thing out. Well, this is the 88 store right off the trail. one of the best little stops along the Florida Trail.
Gotta get in there.
I get my Gatorade for tomorrow. Drop me smart water bottles, Gatorade.
Where we spent night 3 in these trees right next to this junkyard. But the 88 store is literally right there, so you have all this area you can camp all in here. There's plenty of room to camp. So that's where we spent night 3. So today's our last day. We've got 15 miles to the car. So we'll see how I feel. My left knee's been bothering me the whole hike. Probably because of this flat ground, but and my new shoes. So it's not feeling bad this morning. I didn't even take any ibuprofen, but I feel like I might have a blister on the bottom of my right foot. I didn't look, I just put my shoe on anyways. It could just be a hot spot. I'm just gonna go ahead and think that it's just a hot spot. I usually don't get blisters, so I have no idea what today's hike is gonna be like. Mostly just pine forest, because that's what it looked like as we were approaching Rodham Dam. Probably not gonna be as spectacular as the last 2 days were, which really go down as probably my 2 favorite days of hiking on the Florida Trail. So again, if you want a good hike for Florida, Ocala National Forest, we're doing the whole thing, 72 miles. You don't necessarily have to. You could probably cut off the first 15 on the southern section and the top 15, the northern 15. However, again, I haven't hiked it yet, so I don't know what it's going to be like today, but the middle bit was 42 miles or so. It was really, really good hiking. We're kind of right here by a main road. Wasn't too busy last night though, so I actually slept really good. It's probably those couple Budweisers that I had from the 88 store put me right to sleep, and all that pizza. You can actually order pizza, pasta, sub sandwiches from a restaurant that will deliver. So, you know, all of us did that last night, so it was a lot of fun. The trail actually splits in the middle and goes to the west and then also goes to the east. So this is the split here, the northern split. I'm actually looking southbound. So we came from the eastern side, which takes you right through Ocala National Forest. I think the western side, you still go through a portion of Ocala National Forest. I just don't know if it's as cool as the eastern side is. But that's a pretty interesting fact about the Florida Trail. You could go either direction. Most people, from what I am aware of, tend to go on the eastern side. I think there's less road walks and just better hiking on that side. But there is 2 different ways you can go. I like to call frost on trees Florida snow, because this is about as close as you'll get to snow in Florida. Just a good layer of frost. And there's definitely some frost on some of the trees out here. It's cold, it's in the mid to low 30s. I think it's probably right around 35. It had said it was supposed to be 31 or so last night, but I definitely don't think it got down to 31. It was about 42, 43 in my tent, according to my watch, but it does stay significantly warmer in my duplex tent than it does outside. But I still don't think it got down to 31. It didn't really feel that cold to me. I think if it was that cold too, everything would be kind of a bit more covered in frost. Well, it's been looking a lot like that over there, pine forest, but we just got to this little beautiful spot on the trail of the live oak trees, or oak trees here, and they look really, really cool. It's just this little pocket goes this direction, kind of in the middle of the pine tree forest. These things are really neat. There's a lot of these on the Ocala section. Well, we've only got about 6 miles left to this hike, and today's section has been, I would say, very beautiful as well. We haven't had forest like this pretty much the entire time. We've had little bits of it, but it's been like this now for a few miles. It's just beautiful, beautiful. As far as you can see, just fields, grassy fields with these pine trees. Definitely loving this section, man. What a great hike. What a great hike. You'll have to come out here. Well, we've been hiking through this pine forest and it's looked like this for miles and miles this morning. But we started to kind of go downhill and all of a sudden there was just this water oasis right here in the middle of this forest, and we have not seen any water for a long stretch. We were able to get water at the 88 store, but man, look at this place. This is beautiful. Yeah, so here's the little water oasis in the middle of this pine forest. This is really neat. There's oak trees all around it. Pretty cool. The water keeps going over here as well. God, look at those oak trees through there. Man, beautiful. Have but probably about 2 miles left, and we've exited the pine forest, which we're in for the majority of the 15 miles today, and now we're back into like an oak forest, which is my favorite personally. Has a totally different feel when you're walking through this. It's really pretty. So we should be getting close, and honestly I figured that I would be done in 35 minutes, so we'll see. We'll see how close I get. We're ending at Rodham Dam, and we saw a sign back there for Rodham Campground, and it said it's 2.9 miles away, so I don't know. We could be going just past that or not that far. So anyhow, I'm gonna stick with my 35 minutes, see if I'm pretty close. I've gotten to the lake, that's for sure. The question is, where's the dam? Okay, I'm guessing we're gonna go to the right here. Actually, wow, look at this. This is really, really pretty. Okay, so I was right. We are going to the right, but let's see. Oh my gosh, this is breathtaking. Unbelievable. Oh my gosh. Wow, we made it, and there's the dam. We're there. We're there. There's the dam right there. And the beautiful lake. I really thought I had 28 minutes left, so I was a little off. Not quite 28 minutes left. It looks like maybe 5 minutes. So this is where Matt and a couple other people camped on the first night before we took off. I got here early in the morning though. Well, I'm gonna sit here and wait for the rest of my group. But we're here, we made it. Well, this is officially the end of our hike. You can see the water back there behind me, and this is where we camped on the very first night before we drove our cars down to the southern terminus. What a hike, I'll tell you. I'm sore, as I always am after I finish a Florida Trail hike. They really get you, I'll tell you. It's nice not climbing up and down, but the flat surface the entire time it beats your feet, that's for sure. Wow, what an incredible 72 miles on the Florida Trail. The Ocala section, hands down, is my favorite section that I've ever done. And what a way to finish the hike right here on this beautiful lake at Rodham Dam. Thanks so much for watching the video. When you see me next, I'll be hiking in Tasmania with Zpacks. Happy hiking.